So now we will be talking about the internal surface of the base of the skull. So this is the internal surface of the base of the skull. So we again divide it into anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, posterior cranial fossa. This is anterior, this is middle, this is posterior. What is the boundary? The anterior cranial fossa is formed by the posterior border of the lesser wing of the sphenoid. This is the posterior border of the lesser wing of the sphenoid. So anterior cranial fossa is up to this. The anterior cranial fossa is bounded posteriorly by the lesser wing, posterior border of the lesser wing of the sphenoid. This is anterior cranial fossa formed by orbital plate of the frontal. These are the orbital plates of the frontal bone and part of the body of the sphenoid and lesser wing of the sphenoid, both sides. Here some part of the body is broken. So this is the part of the body of the sphenoid and the lesser wing of the sphenoid joining the orbital plate of the frontal. And these are the impressions of sulci gyri of the frontal lobe of the brain in the anterior cranial fossa which lodges. In the midline, there is an elevated portion. You can see this is the crista galli of the ethmoid bone. As the ethmoid bone, this is the ethmoid small bone that is joining with the frontal bone above. This is frontal crest. This part is ethmoid, and the small foramina, the cribriform plate of the ethmoid, cribriform plate. These are the sieve-like things. These are the cribriform plate of the ethmoid, both sides. These are for olfactory nerves. Olfactory nerves, they are coming from the nasal roof. This is the roof of the nasal cavity here. Roof of the nasal cavity. From here, the olfactory nerves, they are coming inside to join the olfactory bulb. So the cribriform plate of the ethmoid through which first cranial nerve or olfactory nerve is coming. So this is the anterior cranial fossa. And part of the sphenoid bone, body of the sphenoid, that is coming in contact with the anterior taking part in the anterior cranial fossa is jugum sphenoidale. And these are the lesser wing of the sphenoid. Now come to the middle cranial fossa. This is middle cranial fossa. This part, very important thing. This part is middle cranial fossa. It is formed by the body of the sphenoid in the midline, then greater wing of the sphenoid, then squamous part of the temporal, anterior surface of the petrous part of the temporal. So middle cranial fossa is formed by the body of the sphenoid, then the greater wing of the sphenoid, and part of temporal, that is the squamous part and petrous part anterior surface. This is the middle cranial fossa. Now in the middle cranial fossa, what are the things we can see? First is the optic canal. This is the optic canal. Between the body of the sphenoid and the roots of lesser wing. This is the optic canal. This is the optic canal in the orbit. This is the optic canal. This optic canal is bounded medially by the body of the sphenoid here and epashe lesser wing. Two roots of the lesser wing. So median body of the sphenoid medially and two roots of lesser wing. Through this canal, rounded almost. Through this canal, what structure passes? The optic nerve and ophthalmic artery. Optic nerve is coming out through this canal to form a sulcus chiasm. In the sulcus chiasmaticus, it is forming the optic chiasma like this, forming optic chiasma here. Optic nerve is coming out through the optic canal and ophthalmic artery going to the orbit through the optic canal. It is inferolateral to the optic nerve. So this is the optic nerve canal or optic canal. After that, this is the body of the sphenoid. This is broken somewhat, and in the body of the sphenoid, first thing in the middle cranial fossa is sulcus chiasmaticus, one groove. Sulcus chiasmaticus. It should be covered. The sphenoidal sinus we are seeing here. So see this sulcus chiasmaticus. Sulcus chiasmaticus does not lodge optic chiasma, but optic chiasma is just above the sulcus chiasmaticus. Just posterior to the sulcus chiasmaticus, there is elevated part, that is tuberculum celli. Tuberculum celli in both sides having two projected tubercle, that is called middle crinoid process. In the tuberculum celli, the middle crinoid process are there. And then where the anterior crinoid process, the posterior border of the medial end of the lesser wing, these projected part are anterior crinoid process. So anterior glenoid process, middle glenoid process here. The anterior glenoid process and the middle glenoid process, they are attached by a ligament called carotidoglynoid ligament, where from anterior glenoid process to middle glenoid process, this one. This one is carotidoglynoid ligament. Sometimes it get ossified to form a carotid foramen. So anterior glenoid process, middle glenoid process. Here is carotidoglynoid ligament forming carotid foramen. Now come to the superior orbital fissure, where it is, you can see a retort shaped thing. This is the superior orbital fissure, this one. It is bounded by medially body of the sphenoid, this is body of the sphenoid, lesser wing above, greater wing below and lateral. This is lesser wing above, body of the sphenoid medially, and greater wing of the sphenoid inferolaterally. This is the superior orbital fissure. Here you can see superior orbital fissure. This is a retort shaped thing. This is the superior orbital fissure. What is the inferior orbital fissure? This is the inferior orbital fissure below. This is the inferior orbital fissure, this one. Inferior orbital fissure is between the greater wing and maxilla. This is greater wing above, maxilla below. This is inferior orbital fissure. And this one is superior orbital fissure. This is the superior orbital fissure. The cranial nerves coming out from the superior orbital fissure are very important. What are they? All the cranial nerves related to the orbit except optic nerve is coming out or coming in through this superior orbital fissure. What are they? The third nerve oculomotor, then trochlear, that is fourth cranial nerve, then abducens, that is sixth cranial nerve, and part of trigeminal. Which part? Ophthalmic part. So this is the superior orbital fissure. Superior orbital fissure. This superior orbital fissure again divided by a common tendinous ring into lateral, medial, and intermediate part. Through this superior orbital fissure, the nerves are related to the superior orbital fissure are oculomotor nerve, two divisions, ophthalmic division of trigeminal, and trochlear and abducens. How they pass? Through the lateral part of the superior orbital fissure, lacrimal and frontal division of ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve. That is, trigeminal nerve is divided into three parts. One is ophthalmic, one is maxillary, one is mandibular. The ophthalmic division again divided into lacrimal, frontal, and nasociliary. All the three divisions are passing through the superior orbital fissure. So lacrimal part, this is superior orbital fissure here, this one. Through this superior orbital fissure, that is superior orbital fissure, this one. Through this superior orbital fissure, lateral part, lacrimal and frontal, ophthalmic division of trigeminal, then trochlear nerve, that is fourth cranial nerve, then nasociliary nerve is passing through the intermediate part along with abducens nerve and oculomotor nerve. So third cranial nerve, that is oculomotor nerve, fourth cranial nerve, that is trochlear nerve, sixth cranial nerve, that is abducens nerve, are passing through the superior orbital fissure, and also ophthalmic division of the trigeminal, that is lacrimal, frontal, nasociliary. They are passing through the superior orbital fissure. Now the other divisions of the trigeminal nerve. Just after the superior orbital fissure, you can see a round foramen, small round foramen, small round foramen. This is foramen rotundum for maxillary nerve. So ophthalmic division through superior orbital fissure, and this is the round foramen through which the maxillary division of trigeminal nerve passes. Where it goes? It goes to the pterygomaxillary fossa. Pterygomaxillary, that means this is pterygoid plate of the sphenoid, this is maxilla. এইখানে চলে যাচ্ছে. Here is the maxillary nerve going to the maxilla. So this is the pterygomaxillary fissure. Beneath that, pterygomaxillary fossa, and this is the infratemporal fossa. This is infratemporal. This is pterygomaxillary fissure, and posterior to the maxilla, pterygomaxillary fossa. So maxillary nerve is coming through the foramen rotundum. This is rotundum. How to identify superior orbital fissure? You can see superior orbital fissure retort shaped. After that, foramen rotundum, round shaped foramen. After that, lateral to that or below, this is the foramen ovale, lateral shaped. So superior orbital fissure, larger retort shaped. Then foramen rotundum, small for maxillary nerve. then oval foramen for mandibular nerve, foramen ovale, and lateral to the foramen ovale, small foramen is there, nervus spinosus. Superior orbital fissure, then rotundum, then ovale, then nervus spinosus. And where is foramen lacerum? This is foramen lacerum. Foramen lacerum is bounded by sphenoid and temporal, anteriorly sphenoid, posteriorly temporal petrous part. So this is the middle cranial fossa, this part. Now come to the posterior cranial fossa. This is the posterior cranial fossa. This posterior cranial fossa, again it is having what bones are forming the posterior cranial fossa? The base of the sphenoid and base of the occiput, they are joining to form clevus. This is called clevus. And clevus, foramen magnum, anterior to the foramen magnum is clevus. That is, here is the basilar venous plexus that is differentiating the clevus from the pons and medulla. So it lodges, posterior cranial fossa lodges pons and medulla, cerebellum. Where is cerebellum? Here will be the cerebellum. Now in the foramen magnum, what are the other parts of the posterior cranial fossa? The bones are posterior surface of the apex of the posterior surface of the petrous part of the temporal bone here, and this is the occipital bone here, mastoid part of the temporal also, and the parietal. So the roof is formed by tentorium cerebelli. What is tentorium cerebelli? I am coming late. Now what are the other cranial nerves? Other cranial nerves are, we are talking about 6th cranial nerve here. Now 7th cranial nerve. 7th and 8th, that is facial and vestibulocochlear, is in the internal acoustic meatus. Where it is? This is the internal acoustic meatus. Internal acoustic meatus in the temporal bone. So this is the internal acoustic meatus. 7th of facial nerve or 7th cranial nerve, passing through this internal acoustic meatus and going out by the stylomastoid foramen in the inferior surface of the base of the skull. And vestibulocochlear nerve, it is coming out to the brain through this internal acoustic meatus. So 7th and 8th cranial nerve, passage of 7th and 8th cranial nerve, that is facial and vestibulocochlear through the internal acoustic meatus. Now come to 9th, 10th and 11th. Where are they? They are in the jugular foramen. Where is jugular foramen? This is jugular foramen. Don't confuse it with internal acoustic meatus. This is internal acoustic meatus in the petrous part. And jugular foramen is bounded by temporal and occipital. Petrous temporal and occipital. So this is the jugular foramen. This one and this one. This portion is jugular tubercle. So this is jugular foramen. Jugular foramen. Where it is? This is the jugular foramen. That is, occipital condyles are there. By the side of the occipital condyle, large foramen is there. So lacerum formed by sphenoid and temporal anteriorly, and posteriorly temporal and occipital forming jugular foramen. Passage of glossopharyngeal, vagus and accessory. 3 cranial nerves are passing out through the jugular foramen. This is jugular foramen. And another important thing in the jugular foramen is passage of sigmoid sinus through the jugular foramen posterior part, forming internal jugular vein in the neck. So this is the jugular foramen. So this is the internal acoustic meatus for 7th, 8th cranial nerve, and this is jugular foramen for 9th, 10th and 11th cranial nerve. And the hypoglossal canal, where it is? This is the hypoglossal canal. Anterior to the foramen magnum, this is hypoglossal canal for 12th cranial nerve. So these are the openings of the cranial nerves. Olfactory in the cribriform plate of ethmoid in the anterior cranial fossa. Optic in the optic canal. Optic nerve, 2nd cranial nerve. Then 3rd, 4th, 6th and ophthalmic division of trigeminal through superior orbital fissure. Then maxillary division of trigeminal in the foramen rotundum. Then mandibular division of the trigeminal in the ovale, foramen ovale. Then the 7th and 8th in internal acoustic meatus here in the temporal bone. Then 9th, 10th, 11th in the jugular foramen. This is jugular foramen. And 12th cranial nerve in the hypoglossal canal. This is the hypoglossal canal. This is the hypoglossal canal. So these in short the exit and entry of the cranial nerves and other foramina and the cranial fossa of the interior of the base of the skull.